screen. I'm going to start there. And I'm just going to share my whole screen here because I've got a variety of things to share with you. So I have a set of resources to share with you after the workshop. Some of you have added your email address. Thank you so much for sending that to me. I know you've sent them to me privately. I encourage you to send them to David privately because he's the one who's actually going to collect them all and then send them to me. So thank you for sending them to me privately. I didn't explain it very well. So if you could send those to David privately, those who sent them to me privately, then he'll collect all of those, and then I'll have the whole list because I don't own the Zoom meeting, so I won't have them after this is over. So today's session is a how-to session. We're going to set you up for future work. And to set expectations for today, what I'd like to talk about is what we will and won't be doing. So this is what is true right now. There's a startling fact about your church's digital presence. Even if you think you're a small rural church or a small urban church, you're online in places you don't even know about. And so we're going to be talking about that and how to manage those places. We won't be talking about, this is what we won't be talking about today, and I want to make sure that we set expectations early. We won't be talking about how to set up Zoom meetings, Facebook Live, Google Hangouts, or setting up online giving. However, that's the first resource I'd like to share with you at bscm.org. And I'll send this to you in an email. I'll send you all these links to you in an email. If you want to jot them down yourself, you're welcome to do that too. On the home page, this is the very home page, there's streaming with Facebook Live, there's training for that, and there's setting up online and text giving. So you've got resources right here for how to learn how to do that. All of your directors of missions have used Zoom. So if you have questions about using Zoom, I encourage you to contact your director of missions or whatever you call your area missionary for your association. If you don't have an association, I know certain churches aren't in an association, like they're just part of the state. Contact your state staff and they will show you and equip you to use Zoom. And they even have Zoom links for you to use. So that's kind of cool. So go to bscm.org to learn how to use Facebook Live and set up online giving and online and text giving. I go to a church. We use the text giving as well through One Life, which is in Flint. We also won't be talking about how to build a website. There are lots of really good YouTube videos out there that can help you with this if you choose to go that route. I'm not convinced everyone needs to go that route per Denise's concern. Small churches, that's a good question. Who's their audience? Where are they going to be looking for church? Some will need a website, and we will be talking about that as well. We will discover where your church or ministry is already online. We will also discuss tools by which you can find your primary audience, from Leonard's preschoolers to the Robert seasoned saints, and I know somebody else mentioned another group of 8 totally different ages. We'll be talking about who your target audience is for your church or ministry, and how you can target your messaging to them, how you can make their digital experience the one you're trying to offer to them so that they feel loved and supported and they grow in their relationship with the Lord, and we grow in our relationship with each other as church members or ministry members. We will also learn about resources which can help you have a meaningful, distinct, and consistent first digital impression, so that when real people who are visitors to your digital space understand who you are at a glance, because in this day and age, they're likely to visit you online first, then come to see you in person. So, some years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, if we had a church building or storefront, we would make sure there were either flowers or the glass was clean, or, there was a greeter at the door. That is no longer the first impression someone gets from your church. The first impression they get from your church is what you're doing online. So I would like to start our session with a story. And this story sounds very much like the story of, who was it? Our bivocational pastor. Is that Rodolfo? I think I missed that part. Okay.
Yes,
Anyway. Okay.
Rodolfo.
Okay, very good. Pastor Adolfo, I'd like you to meet Pastor Paul. Everybody, actually, I'd like you to meet Pastor Paul of Rolling Hills Community Church. He's the bivocational pastor, and he knows to reach people today, technology is important. His wife is on Facebook, but Paul isn't interested and doesn't have time for that. Another pastor friend, Aaron, uses social media to reach his congregation, making short videos and posting them online. But Paul, by the way, are you seeing this screen right here? Are you seeing my screen? Are you seeing the screen that Paul is on? Paul's
Yes.
picture? Okay, good. All right. I couldn't tell if you guys were seeing the screen. Thank you. Otherwise, you're looking at my notes, which is okay too, but I think Paul's more interesting here. Anyway, Paul doesn't even remember to take pictures of his kids with his phone. His wife does that, or his mother. So his church members tell him that they've checked in to services at Rolling Hills. He's glad, even though he isn't sure what they're talking about. Pastor Paul just doesn't have the time or even the inclination to learn about these online things right now. He has real life ministries to plan and manage. The surprising thing is the ministry of Rolling Hills Community Church is already online, whether Pastor Paul planned it or not. And if no one is managing the digital presence of Rolling Hills, anyone can say anything they want, even take over pages that Rolling Hills Community Church should manage. So the story that I've just told you is a condensed version of several experiences I've had with nonprofits and their web presence. I've helped nonprofit organizations such as Huron Forest Camp Cedar Ridge, Davison Meadows Baptist Church, Victory Baptist Church, Coram Deo Homeschool Academy blend strategic goals with user needs. I facilitated strategic sessions, designed websites, and managed social media and branding. So today, you are going to understand, you're going to learn where your church is already online, where they're already online, and I don't mean like your website or Facebook page, I mean other places too that you don't even know about, and how to manage your church's digital presence. We'll discuss how to choose a social platform that resonates with your audience and discuss benefits and drawbacks of having a church website based on your target audience. So the purpose of our time together is not only to discuss ideas for reaching people, but also for protecting the reputation of your ministry. So this scripture is really what I go to when I think of our digital presence. A good name is to be more desired than great wealth. Favor is better than silver or gold. It's Proverbs 22:1. And it relates to who we are and who we say we are. So let's take and who other people say we are. Let's take a look at a couple searches. So I did a couple searches. This one is for Totally Fake Church. I couldn't think of a name of a totally fake church, but I needed something that would give me what I needed, and this did. So let's just say the name of this fake church is Totally Fake, and that's the name of the church, Totally Fake Church. And you can see there's some results. Oh my goodness, there's 291 million results. There's some videos about some stuff, really nothing about that particular church here. But then if we go to a really well-known church, Saddleback Church is a very large church in California, you'll notice that there is what is called a knowledge graph on this right side right here, this knowledge graph. Totally Fake Church doesn't have a knowledge graph because they don't really have an online presence. They don't have any intentional digital presence. Probably don't have a Facebook page, no Twitter feed. They don't have a website, so there's nothing here to draw from. But Saddleback does. Saddleback has a lot of things. Look, they're on social in 4 different places, plus have their own website. So I did a search when I was preparing for the Church Evangelism Conference last September for Cornerstone, which is where it was held. It was Cornerstone Baptist Church in Roseville. Now, when I did the search, you'll notice but Cornerstone's a popular name. And how far down did we have to look for Cornerstone Baptist Church in Roseville? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. 6 down, there's Cornerstone Baptist Church in Roseville. And so when I clicked on that, let's look at a few of these entries that were there. So this is now Cornerstone Baptist Church. Oh, actually, I just clicked on Cornerstone Baptist Church, and it gave me one in Swartz Creek, Bay City, in Ortonville, not even Roseville, not the one I was looking for. And then when I did the Roseville search, then it did bring up some Roseville places, but I wonder how many of these are actually owned by the church. So I clicked on a few of these, and this is one I clicked on. Actually, no, I'm sorry, I scrolled a little bit. This is further down. You'll see that Cornerstone does have the knowledge graph, which is good to know. It suggests some days. Look, it says closed here. It opens on Sunday. But there's an event on Saturday, the Church Equipment Conference, which is where, which is, you know, what this was for. That was the upcoming event at that time. And you can see that they've got some reviews of the church in this knowledge graph. Now, Cornerstone didn't put this together. This whole knowledge graph, Google puts together. Google puts together the whole knowledge graph for the searches that we conduct. So you can try that with some other searches later today. In fact, we might try one later on. So then I clicked on a few of these. Here's more. This is page 2 of about 169,000 results. Right here is page more Cornerstone. Not all of them are owned by Cornerstone though. Right here, Yellow Pages. That's not divorce care. I don't know if that's owned by Cornerstone. Maybe it is. But this is one, WebMD. Cornerstone Baptist Church in Roseville has a WebMD entry. This is very interesting. I don't think they own this one. And I don't think they've managed it. Remember, this is about managing your digital presence. They haven't managed this. Because if you look at it, it says 1 practicing physician, 2 specialties. Now that's very interesting. I wouldn't expect that to be a church there to have that. However, if we read about it, about Cornerstone, it says Cornerstone Baptist Church is a group practice. It's not really a group practice, it's a church with a counseling ministry, I would assume. That would be a better description. If they were managing it, they might change the description for how they're describing themselves. Currently, Cornerstone Baptist Church specializes, now this is kind of janky language. This is another thing about managing your presence. Child and adolescent psychiatry and psychiatry with 1 physician. It's a strange sentence. It's almost written, sounds like it's written by a computer, which it probably was. It probably was written by a computer, not a person, which is why it's hard to read and it doesn't flow well. This is really cool that they offer counseling, that I could go to WebMD and type in adolescent psychiatry and a church would come up. Oh my goodness, isn't that what our ministries are all about? Let's help people find us online where they're looking for us. We didn't put ourselves here, but we can certainly manage this spot, and good for Cornerstone for having a counseling ministry. That is so cool. They need to do something about managing where it is. So, here's another one. This is Eventful, it's called, and it is, this is the event for, it was just said events. Here we go, Detroit.eventful venues, Cornerstone Baptist Church. I'm like, interesting, what's that all about? And it says Cornerstone Baptist Church, Detroit. Well, there might be a Cornerstone Baptist Church in Detroit, but this entry is actually about the Cornerstone Baptist Church in Roseville. So there's a problem, number 1. And look, it says prepaid parking. You know, that's kind of cool, but I expect if I was a church, I'm not gonna charge anybody park in my parking lot. So they probably want to remove that from this, event entry. Also, okay, so the neighborhood is Roseville, but Detroit has, if this is in Detroit, it's meaningful if you say, or for my town, if you're in Flint and you say Carriage Town, you know what we're talking about. It's like a geographic location. So I know Detroit has the same kind of neighborhoods too. So, or the cultural district. If you're in Flint, you say the cultural district, you know exactly what we're talking about. So this is the town. It's not really a neighborhood. So that should be updated. And then here's, the Cornerstone Baptist. You can find tickets. I don't think we charge tickets for this event. I don't think you needed a ticket to get into the church evangelism conference. So you did need to register. So maybe we could update this button to say register rather than find tickets. So it's great this was there. It's kind of confusing, but it could be managed. So this page is not managed. Cool that it's out there though. Very cool, just not managed. Here's another one I thought was really interesting. This is a curated website, someone else's website talking about Cornerstone Baptist Church. This is, I don't know how you say this, maybe MICO, General Contractors and Construction Managers. And they've got this beautiful web page. I mean, this is their website. And, featured project, Cornerstone Baptist Church. Wouldn't it be cool if like the contractor you hired to paint your church, like made your church one of the projects? That would be, it's like free advertising, telling people about your church and showing pictures of the inside. This is what it looks like, folks. Like I might land and you'd be like, oh, this is what Cornerstone looks like on the inside. I might not totally be interested at all in the actual contractor, but I'm interested in what it looks like inside that building because maybe I want to go there. I don't know. So, but this is interesting. Now we know Cornerstone is a Southern Baptist church, and all of us here are connected to Baptist churches. But look at this. It says, served as construction managers. Nico served as construction managers for the construction of the parish's new 75,000 square foot worship center. Now, maybe Cornerstone actually calls the areas surrounding the community surrounding their church a parish. And I wouldn't be surprised because that is a very Catholic community. Right there in Roseville, Warren, those are all Polish German Catholics living out there. And the reason I say that is because I are one and I lived out there. Polish, German, and Italian, my neighborhood. That's all we were. And there was the token Greek Orthodox family and the token Chaldean family. And like, that's it, you know. So maybe they do call it a parish because my church called it a parish, but I went to a Catholic church when I was growing up. We actually had boundaries. Our bulletin had the parish boundaries. Like you went to the church if you lived inside this neighborhood. And all the dutiful Polish, German Catholics and Italians, they did that. They were like, oh, I live there. That's the church I go to. So maybe Cornerstone does call it a parish, but maybe they don't. And if they don't, they need to contact Miko or Maiko and say, could you update that to be the construction of the congregation's new worship center? Because we're a congregational-led church. We don't have a parish or like the government that goes with having a parish, unless they do. And maybe they do. I don't know. I don't go to that church. So this is an example of someone else talking about your church and maybe not getting the terminology right because parish means a specific thing. But it's really cool that they're on this page. So, oops, I don't want to show you that. All right. So now, Davison Meadows was a church. My husband and I went to Davison Meadows for a time. We were a church where no one in the church had put anything online. We were in the realm of totally fake church right here. Let's find it again. Okay. Right here. Here we go. Totally fake church. Oh, that's Saddleback. Totally fake church. Nobody had put anything online. Very few members were on Facebook, like 2 maybe. None were on Twitter. The church didn't have a website. There was no church Facebook page. They didn't feel like they really needed one. So I did a Google search to see what came up for Davison Meadows. First off, there was no knowledge graph like we see for Totally Fake Church here. It was empty. So I ask you, and this is where you can unmute yourselves, how many places do you think had information about Davison Meadows? Like, how many places was Davison Meadows online? Just, you can take some guesses.
12 or 15.
12 or 15. Okay. I'm going to write these down. Anybody else got a guess? No? We're all going with Denise's 12 to 15? Okay. It's a good guess. This is a good guess. Okay.
Maybe more, because I know everybody out there who offers advertisement grabs the names from where they can and throws them out there.
That is true. You are right. Okay, let's take a look. I actually have a screenshot of a spreadsheet, and we're going to be doing this next, by the way, with your church or ministry. This is the spreadsheet where I just did a Google search. This was just a Google search for Davison Meadows. 32 places online, even without a knowledge graph. There were 32 places that Davison Meadows was online. And you know who's managing these? No one. Anyone could have claimed them and damaged the reputation of Davison Meadows. In order to organize them, I created a spreadsheet. And so I'm curious right here, how many of you guys are familiar with Excel, Google Sheets, or Open Office? Is anybody familiar with that? Yes, no? Yeah, I see some heads nodding. Okay, it looks like some are.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So if you're not, you hope to manage your digital presence, you'll need to look at videos on how to use Excel. Google Sheets is a free version, and I'm going to be sharing with you a Google Sheets document. If you don't have Microsoft Suite, but it does require that you set up using offline mode if you don't have access to consistent internet. So, and there's videos on that. So how do you or Pastor Paul get started? Well, we are going to do that right now. This is a sheet that I'm going to share with you right now. In fact, I'm going to post this in the chat. Can I get to chat from here? I see people are chatting me. I'm sorry if I haven't chatted you back. So I'm just going to chat this to everybody. Here you go. You should all be able to access this document right here. Digital Presence Management Tool Template. So if you go there, and if you're on mobile, like if you're on your phone right now, you're like, yeah, no, I can't do that. You know, I'm holding my 3-year-old and I'm actually, you know, vacuuming. That's okay. I appreciate that. It's in the chat. This is one of the links I'll send you. But if you can access it, it would be great if you could, because then we can work together. Because what we're going to do is this is how to use the document. We're just going to walk through right now. First thing you need to do is make a copy of this document. So you should be able to copy the whole thing and then save it as your own spreadsheet. Because this is a template. We want everybody to use it. So you need to make a copy of it and save it. And if you make it a Google Sheet like this one, it's shareable and you can turn on editing permissions for collaboration, because you're going to want someone else to help you with this work. This is big work that we're going to be doing. So maybe not today, but we'll be talking about who that person to help you might be. So also, you're going to want to perform a Google search and list all the unique URLs where your organization is listed. If your search engine lists pages, visit at least the first 5 pages of your Google search. When you go to each URL, you're going to add details about descriptions, locations, hours, contact information, and whether or not this business has been claimed. And you'll see right here, here's an example of that, because this document has several tabs. This is how to use the sheet. This is the digital spaces. This is what we're going to be doing right now. And then we'll look at personas, social posts, and start with why when we get to them in the order in the workshop today. Back to how to use this sheet. What we're not going to do today is prioritize the most important to manage first. That's going to be up to you to really reflect on and to think through what's the most important. And then you're going to methodically update the information. You should add photos, branding, and contact information if possible. Like Cornerstone should. You saw those pages. Cornerstone could have done that. They could have done it. They just didn't know. But now you will know. And then you're going to create a digital maintenance plan where these sites are revisited and regularly updated. Again, that's up to you and your team. And it's so exciting to see like Temple of Faith and Galilean? Is it Galilean or Galilee? Which one is it? I know I'm not saying that right. Okay. Anyway, more than one of you guys on here. That's awesome. And then continue to perform searches for your organization to add new digital spaces when they appear. To Denise's point, there's always being updated. And so you need to be making sure that you're on top of where people are putting you out there. And continue to revisit your strategy. Start with why to see if you're accomplishing your strategy. And if not, iterate and try plan B. Your strategy shouldn't change. Leonard's strategy won't change. He wants to reach preschoolers. Unless he leaves the preschool ministry, then that's no longer a strategy. But as long as he's reaching preschoolers, that's his strategy. The plan to do that may be modified from time to time. And same with, I think it's Ray who has the seniors, Robert who has seniors. So that, you know, you want to reach your people. So your strategy is reaching seniors, but the methods to do that you may modify your methods. And we're going to be talking about that. So let's go to this. Does everybody have the sheet? Or those who are able to have it open? And did you make a copy? Are you ready to go? Because we can get started on this one. I should probably look at the chat. I see things in chat. Oh, Galilee Ministry Baptist Church of Defiance. Okay. Boy, what a great town name, Defiance. We're Christians. We're living in defiance. Defiance of the world. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, this is off topic, but I'm reading through 2 Kings. I just read chapters 23 and 24. Whew, I just had to stop. Man, that's rough, you know? That Josiah was absolutely living in defiance of the culture of the day. In communion with the Lord, but in defiance of the culture. Holy schmoly. Anyway, that's another topic for another day. So Is everybody here? And I do need to hear from everybody. You should have an opportunity to add a little emoticon thing. Can you tell me if yes, you're there or not? Like you do thumbs up. No. Is everybody here?
I have a question for you, Diane.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not at home. I'm at my mother's, who doesn't have internet access. And so I have my hotspot on. I'm trying to wondering if you see another one, would you please accept me? And then I'll close this little phone one out so that I can upload it on my phone. I do have my laptop here, but she doesn't have internet. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make this work and so that I can save the doc. So I don't have it open yet because I'm waiting for my laptop and it's going really slow because it's working on hotspot.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, that is actually David. David can do that.
David. There you go. Thank you.
It may help you if you're in a laggy hotspot situation. I love seeing all your faces. All of you who are who I'm seeing, that's really cool. But if you're in a laggy hotspot situation or a laggy internet situation, if you turn off your camera, your throughput should improve. So, or bandwidth. I think your bandwidth is, I don't know which one it is, either bandwidth or throughput. You need a system engineer on this call, he'd know. So, anyway, just to let you know, so if you guys need to turn your video, I get it, although I love seeing your faces and I prefer that. So make a copy of this, and once you've done that, then let's go use it. So this is an example. These are just examples here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for church, and let's do the one in chat. Let's do. This is so exciting. Okay, I'm going to do Galilee Ministry Baptist Church of Defiance, Ohio. So I'm gonna make a copy here. So here I'm gonna make a copy, and I'm gonna call it Galilee Missionary Baptist Church. Here we go. I'm making one.
Hey David, I have a question for you. Could you send the link again in the chat, because now that I logged on my laptop, it's only showing the chat from when I just got on.
Yes.
Could you copy that again, please?
Yes, I will send out a link to this document here in just a minute.
That feedback is probably Denise. Yep, so when she mutes, then we won't hear that anymore. Okay.
I got her muted now.
Awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is my sheet, and I made a copy. This is a copy now, and we're using Galilee Missionary Baptist Church as an example. So I'm just going to do a Google search. Galilee Missionary Baptist Church of Defiance, Ohio. Let's just do a Google search. So here it looks like there is a, I'm just going to start opening tabs. This looks like maybe a website. This is something on Facebook. This is another Facebook thing, so I'm going to skip it. This one's local prayers. Here's Crescent News. Here's church's list. It's Church Angel. We'll do one more. We'll do, let's do, what's Lineable? I don't know. Let's do two more. Oh, let's do three more. Okay. So then I'm just opening up all these tabs. What I would do is I would do this for the first 5 pages. So I hope you're doing this for your church, or at least noticing how this is working for your church. So you're, just to review, you're on this document. This is what the first page looks like. And you're on this tab, Digital Spaces. You've made a copy of this document. And these are just examples right here in this grayish sort of type. This was the Google search that we conducted for Galilee Missionary Baptist Church. And this is the first tab. So just questioning Galilee Missionary Church folks, is this actually your website? Yes, it is. Okay, good. I saw someone nodding. Shirley said, yep, it is. So, so good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Oops. And I'm going to close this. Oh, and by the way, before we leave, look at this beautiful knowledge graph. Now I know, and you know, Galilee Missionary Baptist Church did not put this together. This is something Google put together for you. So Temple of Faith, you guys probably have one of these too. Because you're a long-standing, well-established church. So, so it's a big deal. What am we looking at, David? I can't see what you're looking at.
5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so this perfect timing, perfect timing. All right, so we're gonna take our 5 minutes. We're gonna do stuff with it though. You can see that there's a website, there's an address, a phone number. You might want to check, make sure that that's your real phone number. Is that the real phone number people should be calling? Make sure it is. Business hours. So business hours. You guys could add that. Know this place. Share the latest info. That sounds interesting. Reviews. Looks like you got some reviews from Facebook. Also, look at this, so nice. People are friendly and loving. That's wonderful. You can see all the Google reviews. Apparently, there's a Facebook profile, and there's a website I could go to. I can get directions. I can save, and there's photos, which is really cool. So that's really nice. Google did that for you. You want to own that. You want to make sure Google knows you own that. So do whatever you can to own that knowledge graph, because you don't want anybody messing with your information. So this is your website. So you're going to go here. This is the first thing I would do. I would get this out of here and then put in this website. This is actually the website. And it's a managed page. It's edited. Something maybe you don't know this. Who owns this page? How do we get the password? Like if you need the password for this page to edit some stuff, then you need to know who that is. Hey, there's Brother John. Good to see you, John. Okay, moving on. So here's Facebook. And look at this. Oh, man, I wish I hadn't closed that. Maybe let me go back to this one. I want to show you something that Galilee has done amazing. Look, they've got this logo right here, consistent branding. Look at this, folks. Beautiful, consistent branding that we can see between the two. Fantastic. So what I would do is I would copy this, go back to the page, and David, I know I'm running on my 5 minutes. I want to get to one that isn't managed though. So this is, I'm going to say, oops, why isn't it updating? Go here, then. Facebook. Actually, what I would do is I would call it social, and then managed, and then it's edited. Yep, somebody's taking care of it. And contact inflow, maybe the former pastor's listed. Like maybe there's a new pastor here. Clearly not, but let's just say that's something that you want to note. Oh, former pastor's email's listed. We want to update that. So let's move on to the next one. Let's go to one. Oh, here's another one. Look at this beautiful prayer. Galilee, you guys are doing something good because they got your logo. And look, there's our pastor. Beautiful. That's fantastic. So, and there's even an event. So we see an event. And this is a local prayers page. So we'd want to say this, we'd add this page, we'd copy and paste and put it in here. And we might say business listing or church ministry listing, you know, something that indicates it's outside the church. Let's do another one here. Let's do one that Galilee doesn't manage. Okay, this is a news story that's so cool. Okay, here's one. This one was a link that we clicked on from this Google search, but Crescent, oh, I'm sorry. But at churches list, it's not, something happened. There's a 522 error. I don't know what happened here. You might want to check that out. Something's wrong with maybe churches list is no longer active. So you might want to find, you don't want people clicking on that and seeing this error and thinking it's you. So you might want to check that out. And here's one, Church Angel, Galilee Missionary Baptist Church. So the brand, that beautiful branding's missing. And we need to make sure this is the correct address. This is the correct phone number. Look, you can claim this listing. And you know what's even worse? I can claim this listing, maybe. So let's not have it do that. So you're going to want to go to these places like Church Angel or this Alignable. Probably, see, there's a spot for your branding. You can add that in. They've done some work here. Alignable wants you guys to know this, and here's a website. If we clicked on this, it looks, I don't know if you can look down here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, where my cursor is right here. Look here when I hover over visit website. That's the correct website. When we did this for Davis and Meadows, it said Genesee Baptist Association, or in other places it said spc.net. So it was not anything related to Davis and Meadows. So people couldn't find Davis and Meadows. They'd find the association or the state or national. So that's good that that's the actual website. Here's another one. The branding's missing. Let's see, contact hours. I don't know if you guys were really established in 1994. That's awesome. Davis and Meadows, it said that at one point we were established in 2001, and I think the church had been established in 1954. So you want to make sure this information is accurate if you want them to know your stuff, you know. Reviews, look, somebody can write a review. That's cool. Have them do that on Manta. Here's the yellow pages. You can add your branding again. So is this another one? Okay, that's a different one. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 5-minute break. No, let's take a 10-minute break. Let's take an 8-minute break. 8 minutes. We'll be back at 11:09. And so what we're going to do is you can take this time if you want to madly search for your church and fill this in. You can take a break and get a cup of coffee, get a snack, something. And when we come back, we're going to move on. So this is the first equipping piece, and then we're going to move on and do more with that sheet. So I'm going to turn off my video, and I'll be back at, I used one of our minutes. I'll be back at 11:09.
All right. So take your break, and in about 5 minutes, if you're interested, I'm going to come back and I'm going to share my screen for a minute and show you, in case you're having a problem downloading that document from Diane, I can show you how to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Okay.
Right.
I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Live and other collaboration tools, and I heard of that a lot in our conversation here. I encourage you to check out the Google suite of tools. Multiple people can work on spreadsheets like David showed you, and the one that you've given access to. Multiple people can work on presentations like PowerPoint, except it's called slides. And you can work on documents, so you can share documents. And then you can have like this shared library, like shared folder system of documents, so that you bring someone new into your ministry leadership team, they instantly have access to all your documentation, or access to what you want them to have access to. So it's really important that you share documentation. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit. Okay, so let's start again. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so this page right here, this is one of the links I'm going to give you. This is just another way to look at how to do that task that I just showed you earlier. That little QR code there, you can share this document with anybody, this particular sheet, and that should take them to that Google Sheet. So if you want to share it, you can say, hey, wait, just hold your phone up to this QR code and you'll have access to the document, and then they can copy it and do the thing. So Denise, this may be really helpful to the folks who you want to share that document with, the other like rural churches that you want to help out. So everybody will have access to that. I will send it to you. Now this is really interesting. Actually, yeah, we'll just leave it there for now. Actually, no, let's go here. Okay, so the step one, just to review, manage these spaces. You may need to contact digital, some of these places, and get the right information in there. And to manage these well means that it's either you or someone in your church or ministry who you trust and communicate with, someone who is highly accountable, dependable, and can spell in order to enter the correct information. I know that sounds kind of funny, but it's true. It's so awesome to see at least three people from Temple of Faith. We got sounds like 3 people, I think, from Galilee Missionary Baptist Church here, as 2 people from Memorial, and so other churches here. The point is that it's obviously you guys collaborate, because you guys are like, hey, let's all go into this together. This looks important. We want to, we have different responsibilities, but we're doing this, we're doing this body of Christ thing together. We're living it together. So if you make sure whoever's doing this is someone you can trust, because that person is going to have access to all of these places they're managing. So just like if we were talking about putting someone at the door of your church to be a greeter on Sundays, you wouldn't put a person there who only knows how to shake hands. You'd put a person there who really loves people, who really, wants to build connection and wants to place value on people and helps people understand how to feel welcomed, because you trust that person. And that person is going to come to you later and say, hey, this woman visited, she brought 2 kids with her, and the kids look like they were struggling a little bit. So, and I don't think she goes to church anymore. I tried to talk with her later. That's the kind of person that you want to be in your greeting team, like a person who loves people. Is like, I think we can minister to her. That's the person you want to help manage these digital spaces. This is not the teenager in your church who's just really good at digital stuff, or the guy who just does all the website stuff, doesn't hardly ever come to church, but likes to do all the digital things. You don't want him doing that either, because he might not be committed to your body. You need to have someone who's committed to your body and committed to loving people, and who loves you, helping you manage this. If you choose to have someone on your team do that.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
A while ago, when you were searching for Galilee, their information, one of the websites was called Alignable. And it looked like it had a link to join in order to maybe edit your information. So what would you recommend, like if some places like that have information about your church, maybe it's not all correct, but you have to pay to go in and edit it? What would you do?
Oh, if you have to pay, don't bother.
Okay.
But if you can get it updated, they want that information correct also, because they make money by being accurate.
Okay.
So I would recommend just start an email conversation. Just start emailing people and saying, hey, just one of my websites, just did a Google search for our church and saw on your website that on this Alignable website, I've never seen it before. Our phone number is not correct. Here's our correct phone number. And do you want these pictures? Like, you can add them in if you want to. And they might say, well, you can charge, you can pay blah, blah, blah for such and such. You can be like, no, not interested. But just for your sake, you probably want the correct information. So here you go.
Yeah, good idea.
Usually you can go in and you can make the changes, and there's likely they're going to try to sell you something, but you don't have to buy.
Yep, nope, you don't have to buy anything. No, they have a vested interest in having your information be accurate. So just start a friendly conversation with them. Just like you would, it's ministry, right? These are new contacts for you. Like you're a Christian, you're reaching out to somebody you don't even know. They might not know the Lord. This could actually be an opportunity for those of you who have the gift of evangelism to say, I'm going to start praying about the people you're emailing as you're emailing, saying, how updating my information, blah, blah, blah. And this is who our church is all about. I don't know what you might say, but lots of opportunities.
Right.
Any other questions on that? Good question. Okay, so now I just want to set some expectation here. This will take time. This whole spreadsheet thing, this will take time. It should be documented, and progress should be shared with the congregation. Your church is digital already, whether you feel like it is or isn't. And it was before COVID-19. And your people need a shared understanding of what that means. So what I'm saying is that just like you might give an update where you'd say, yes, we went to the local plastics factory and gave them a gift basket full of snacks for their break room and included our business card in it as a way of outreach because they're right next to your church. Maybe you did that, I don't know. And somebody would tell the congregation that, and the congregation would say, oh, that's exciting, let's pray for those people. The person who's managing these digital spaces should be saying to your body of Christ. So I went online and started a conversation with Alignable, the Yellow Pages, and Manta, and just to let them know, to update our information and who we are and send them a few pictures. Let's pray for this contact that maybe it can lead to something. your people should be knowing what you're doing and updating online. And then you can even say to your folks, so I updated our information on Yelp. It looks like you guys can leave reviews there. If anybody wants to leave reviews on Yelp, that will raise it up in the search results. And it would be beneficial to our church. So your people should be involved in this as well, but not necessarily managing it. Okay, step 2, be intentional. Do some research. After Huron Forest Camp Cedar Ridge,
you make a really good point, Diane, about how we sometimes are poor communicators to our church about other little things that really are essential, because we're worried about the ministry or the word, which is the most essential. But there's no reason why we can't say, hey, if anybody sees anything out there that doesn't look right, please come to this team who's working on this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, Denise, that's good. Everybody owns it, right? We all own the church. If there was a water leak in the hallway, I would be grabbing the trustees or the deacons and saying, hey, there's a water leak in the hallway. And they would then say, oh, they would help me. They might help me get involved in mopping or paper towels or, something like that. They would help me be able to fix it. Or they would say, oh, we actually have a crew. Let me go get our janitor guy. He knows exactly. They'd get the person who does it. And either way, yeah, it's same kind of thing. So, all right, step 2, be intentional. So after Huron Forest Camp Cedar Ridge realized it had several digital locations in addition to the summer camp in Escoda. Their primary thing is the summer camp in Escoda, Michigan. But they had a whole bunch of digital spaces. Then they had questions. Who is visiting these spaces? Why? When? Davis and Meadows realized it needed to take action since some of the information in their uncurated digital spaces, like that Manta and Yellow Pages, was incorrect. So for Huron Forest Camp Cedar Ridge, and this is where you might want to make some of these decisions, I sent surveys through social media and conducted interviews with exit surveys, because it was it's an on-site camp, kind of like Bambi Lake, with parents who were there. I asked questions about the audience and the goals of people who sent kids to camp. For Davis and Meadows, I had access to this really awesome tool. Right here. It's this page called Mission Insight right here. You also have access to this tool through your state convention. Now, how folks, I don't know about if you guys do, but I'm sure that they probably have some kind of demographic tool they use. For Michigan folks, this is the Baptist State Convention of Michigan, and you go to bscm.org/demographics. I will send you this link and Mission Insight right there. You probably will need to set up an account. They can help you with that. Andrew Parsons at our state office helped me with it, set it up, and we learned who lived around our church. Who lived in Davison? Like, who are the people who are, we have a local church. We're not a big digital church. We're a local church. And I encourage you to do this. I visited sites that reviewed the city of Davison and found reviews from the people who lived in the community. And I encourage you to read reviews of the people in your community, because you'll find out about what people think about your community. And these activities revealed the primary types of people or personas of these two organizations. Huron Forest Camp Cedar Ridge, for example, has Janet. This was Janet as a result of research. This is absolutely true. We know this to be true. We're not guessing at this. We're not taking a stab at what seems to be true. We're not making it what we want it to be. This is based on what was actually happening. This is Janet. She lives in Michigan, and she's married and has 2 children. She chooses a Christian summer camp based on the recommendations of church and family. At camp, our friends in church. At camp, I want my children to grow in their faith in an active, skill-building, and trustworthy environment. Paying for camp is sometimes an issue for me. I expect a high-quality camp to cost between $300 and $800, but I may only be able to afford $100 to $300. So this was absolutely true based on research. For Davis and Meadows, the primary persona was Linda. Linda, you can see, we've learned a lot about Linda. A lot of this came from Mission Insight. Some of it came from reviews of the community. She's 44. She's a retail employee. She lives in Davison and grew up Catholic. She has aspirations. Her relationship status is that she's a divorced single parent. So she has some struggles. She tries hard to do a good job at work, but sometimes it's stressful, and raising her kids alone can be stressful too. And then she has some needs. acceptance, support, children's activities, community. She wants whatever she does to be relevant to her life, but really, she's committed to her kids. Her church experiences, she believes in God, but Sunday's the only day they get to sleep in, so don't go to church anywhere. Poor Linda, she's exhausted. This is an exhausted woman here. You know what? She might benefit from a digital service, or maybe she really still can sleep in on Sundays and watch the service later, but be a part of some kind of community some of the time during the week. There's a way that we can minister to Linda and not make her fit into our shoehorned way of looking at church, because her life doesn't work that way. So how can we minister to Linda? For example, I'm just giving it to you. For example, once you understand the people who you're serving, then you can think about creative ways to solve their problems. So now let's go back to our digital, and we're gonna close Galilee there. Our digital presence management tool template. Here's your persona sheet. Now we're not gonna fill this out because you have some research to do. You need to go look at your community and you need to think about your persona type. Now, Leonard has a sub persona type, preschoolers. So there's something about his persona's age, name and age, but he has an additional persona type. Remember, Camp Cedar Ridge, it's for kids. But the primary persona type is Janet, the person who subscribes to camp and pays for camp. So when Leonard's thinking about ministering to preschoolers, he's going to have to include mama, grandma, auntie, a foster parent, somebody. Like, there are people who are taking care of little Ashton whose persona type probably should be listed on Leonard's list. Because, for example, Davis and Meadows, let's just go back to Davis and Meadows for a moment. Oops, in the wrong place. Davis and Meadows not only has Janet, they also have Patricia. Patricia is the retired version of Janet. So Patricia doesn't work anymore. Kids are grown. And then we have Brian and Debbie. They're both working, but they might be part of a blended family, and they have grandkids. So there's 3 different persona types that come to Davis and Meadows. And the interesting thing is, you might say that, oops, something in there. You might say that, I just want to, another thing I just need to say. The words you see here on these personas are from the real people they represent. I won't go over all the personas. There's a lot of information here, but you'll have access to them so you can review them and copy them if you need to. Go right ahead, that's fine. But the words need to be true for your situation and your people. Because the beauty of finding these personas is that they provide direction for establishing a brand and targeting where to spend time in your digital spaces. Remember, we're talking about managing your digital presence. So what can you do in your digital spaces to meet the needs of these folks who are target people for your church? Now, regarding particular personas, you might say our church is for everyone. And that is a beautiful thing to say, and it's probably true. Your church would accept anyone and everyone. You are for everyone. Yes, I get it. So is Davis and Meadows. But you know who lives around Davis and Meadows? Linda. Linda lives there. When people visited, it was Linda or Patricia and her husband. That's who visited Davis and Meadows. So I'm curious, has anybody done any demographic studies of the people around your local church? Anybody? Silence must mean no. Okay, then go to the BSCM and ask for access to this mission insight. It's really cool. You'll find a bunch of stuff out, and you can make a persona and do reviews of your community. The BSCM really wants to support you, as I'm sure does the Ohio State Convention wants to support you folks in Defiance there. So now, after this, you need to get strategic. And you'll see on your document here, there is a tab for Start with Why. And actually, this tab should probably be moved over. Start with Why it's actually named there for a purpose, and we'll get to that. But this is your strategy. And you can make the headers all fancy and everything like that. I didn't get to that point. But these are where you're going to define goals and plans and measurements for success, and talk about why you're doing your thing, how you're doing your thing, and what you actually do. This why shouldn't change. Your why is your strategy. Your how may change. That's your planning. So let's talk about that a little bit. What does this mean? That sounds like a lot of mumbo jumbo, and it kind of is. But you'll have this document later and you can review it. So strategy is, there's a difference between a strategy and a plan. A strategy is focusing on the big picture of what you want to do and how you can do it. So, so for example, we had Robert wants to minister to the seasoned saints in his congregation. And of course, we already talked to Leonard, talked about Leonard. Leonard wants to minister to preschoolers. I think it's a really good idea of strategic emphasis, completely different goals there. And Leonard specifically wants to minister to preschoolers during the time of COVID-19. What can he do digitally to reach out to preschoolers? By the way, I just gotta let you know, Leonard, I heard on WWJ this morning that there's a new business out that is digital babysitting. And they people are going to these babysitting agencies. I think they're paying like $40 an hour. I'm not saying we charge for this, folks. I'm just saying it's $40 an hour for digital babysitting. And they showed a digital babysitter where the 4-year-old spent like 40 minutes giving food, play food to the person on the screen, interacting with the preschooler. So it's totally possible to do that ministry. So I encourage you to look up that story, WWJ. Maybe it'll give you some ideas for how to do that. It's really cool. So anyway, okay, regarding strategic, identify one specific goal or several goals. Define what you need to do to achieve that. So for example, you may need Zoom, you may need Facebook Live. Do you need a website? If you do you need people to build the website? That's a resource that you might need to identify. Identify obstacles. I don't know anybody who builds websites and we have no money for that. That's a big obstacle. So you need to think about what can we do instead? What's a creative way to solve this problem? What are some of the alternatives? Maybe you don't need a website. For example, Davison Meadows didn't need a website. And we'll talk about why. Davison Meadows needed Facebook. That's what they needed. So we'll talk about why that was important. It was based on Linda, because Linda was on Facebook. So anyway, and then consider the numbers. How are you going to measure success? So I'm curious if anybody, just a quick question, because I know we only have half hour left. Has anybody ever done any kind of measurement for reaching people digitally? Has anybody ever done that? Okay. So this might be hard. And if you've got questions, please email me and be like, yeah, I totally don't know what you're talking about. And we'll talk about what this could mean. Like for Leonard, it might mean we keep and this is just, I'm just tossing this out there. I don't even know if this is his goals, but we want to keep the preschoolers busy for 15 minutes. We're going to start with 15 minutes. And if we can do a 15-minute digital Sunday school lesson with preschoolers, we win. And then they can shoot for something longer. For Robert, it might be, we are going to help our seasoned saints get on a conference call, right? Like they might know how to use their phones. If they get a phone, you can say, okay, brother, let's use an old-fashioned name. Brother Arthur, we're gonna do a conference call, talking loud and slow, right? Because I've got those old people in my life too. We're gonna do a conference call at 10:30 on Sunday. I'm gonna give you a call. You just gotta have your phone nearby, okay? So at 10:30, I'm gonna give you a call. And brother Arthur just sits there with his phone. You call him, and then you talk to him for a minute. Like you're gonna have to spend 5 minutes with each person, and then you say, "Okay, brother Arthur, I'm gonna call Sister Edith. So give me a minute. I'm gonna call Sister Edith, and I'm gonna add her to our call. So you just hold on a minute, and then you add Sister. You talk with Sister Edith for a minute. You add her to the call, and then Sister Edith and brother Arthur are talking, and you're like, "Okay, sister and brother, I'm gonna add." Brother Paul, I'll be right back. And so because all they got is their phone, they don't have computers. They don't want to be on Facebook. They don't want to have to figure it out. Oh my goodness, our poor seniors trying to have to figure that stuff out. Don't make them figure it out. Join them where they already are. They got a phone. They might not have a mobile. My brother doesn't have a mobile phone, you guys. He's 68. Leonard, that's Bill. Bill doesn't have a mobile phone. Leonard is my brother Bill. But when we do our family conference calls, and he won't, by the way, he won't. He's like, I'm not living there. I'm done. And he's not like he's dumb. He was a university professor. So he just doesn't want to live there. And okay, that's fine. So when we do our family conference calls, I call his landline and add him into the conference call, and it works just fine. Because I have a goal. My goal is that our family talks once a month. But my plan is that I do conference calls with my brothers, because that's what they can do together. That's what we all can do together. So think outside the box when it comes to these kinds of things. All right, we'll continue on. So get strategic, identify your goals, and then make a plan. Identify your tasks. A monthly plan, a weekly schedule, a daily schedule. What do you need to do to reach your target audience? It might not have to be daily, but maybe it does, depending on your ministry. It kind of depends on what you guys do. Maybe it's just weekly. Maybe it's bi-weekly. Maybe it's, you guys know what this is. These plans change. If a plan doesn't work, ideate, do something different, and try to tackle this a different way. We've seen teachers on the news, right, going to their students' houses and waving at them through the window and leaving, sanitized little packs of stuff for the kids on the front porch, and singing songs together while the teacher's outside and the students inside. That's a different way to do this, non-digital, but it's a different way to engage during this strange time. That's not what we're talking about, digital presence, but I'm saying there are other ways to solve problems. And then you need to execute the plan. If plan A doesn't work, try plan B. So Davis and Meadows had a strategic direction: target the digital work to Linda. In order to execute the strategy for Linda, a brand was developed. And this is the Davis and Meadows brand right here. I'm going to share with you this document. This is our brand book. Now, not all of you need a brand book. This brand was developed with help from the folks at Davis and Meadows. Like, people spoke into this brand because they needed to own it. And they decided the color was green. This particular green, by the way, this particular green was gathered from when Rick and I drove to and from Davis and Meadows. I looked at all the greens of all the fields as we're heading to Davis and Meadows and took pictures, and then looked at all those pictures and figured out all the hex codes. Now, I can do that because I do branding stuff. But if that's not what you do, find someone who does do that branding stuff. And I've got resources to help you figure that out later. So we made a brand guidelines that talked about what our brand is, our mission and tagline, because that's part of our brand, how to use the logo, what our colors are, our fonts, and where to find the typography. So this is all, we're not going to read, you can read this later. This is about what the green is and what this actually means, this cross. It has a meaning. Like, you can tell people about this. It's really kind of cool. I'm sure that Galileans, G with the cross has, and NBC has a meaning, and the reason why it looks like it does. You can talk about that with your folks or people who ask about stuff. This mission, this was really cool. Davis and Meadows fell into a position where they just finished a workshop with Jim Marcus, our director of missions for the Genesee Baptist Association in the Flint area, because Davis and Meadows is right around Flint. And so they found out through Jim Marcus's, Brother Marcus's workshop, excellent workshop, that they were a faithful, loving, welcoming church which seeks to help people grow close to God, founded on the scriptures. That's what they found out about themselves. Now, any of you can make that up, but for your own ministry. But the deal was Davis and Meadows had embraced this. They said, yeah, that's who we are. That's who we are. Because they were looking for a pastor and they had to figure out, who are we? What kind of church are we? And they figured out that's the kind of church they are. It was a big group decision for finding out what kind of church they are. So now they know they had Linda, they had a brand, like the colors, we were developing the brand, and they knew who they were. So we were growing in our ability to understand what we were doing and why. And then the tagline, which is a super short version of your mission statement: faithful, loving, and welcoming. And they really were. Anybody who's been to visit Davis and Meadows would agree. They were faithful, loving, and welcoming. So then we continued on. We talked about how to use the brand in the brand book, how not to use the brand. We're not an orange brand. We are a green brand. Sometimes things need to be in black and white. This is what it looks like in black and white. But if it's not black and white, we're green. And the colors, these are the colors that we had. I want to tell you something really exciting about these colors. These were carefully selected from that same workshop we just had. The workshop wasn't intended to influence the brand. It just did. We're like, oh my goodness, look at all this great fodder for brand. So these colors were selected over time, and it was a group effort. The church selected these colors, and this was in November. In December, these were the colors that decorated the church. The church wasn't red and green anymore. It was that green, that kind of orangey tan, and that purple. And it was gorgeous. And it reflected our brand. I would expect if there had been a Mother's Day tea, that maybe the tablecloths would be purple. And the napkins might be this either green or this, little tan kind of color, or some kind of something like that. Maybe the silver, maybe everything's white and the silverware is, the napkins are green and the silverware is purple. So you know what I mean? Like it would be reinforced consistently. Any kind of image that would be on the website would have, or the Facebook page, sorry, would have this kind of coloring to it. It would be this kind of coloring, immediately identifying it as Davis and Meadows. So just like we saw with Galilean Missionary Baptist Church, they had that same logo. Like we went to the one page and then we went to the other page. We're like, oh yeah, okay, same church. Oh yeah, same pastor. Like immediately we could tell. That's the kind of thing you want to have when you're managing your digital spaces. And then of course, the different kind of colors that can be used for whoever's fussing around with that, and how they might how it might look in a pattern. So anyway, you can explore this brand book more. This is how the brand might be presented in stationery and business cards. So Davis and Meadows chose Facebook because that's where Linda was. Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube were ignored for Davis and Meadows because Linda wasn't there. We didn't need them. They were extra overhead. Our primary persona, Linda, was on Facebook. The brand, collaboratively designed with the feedback from the congregation, was primarily for print and social media. Davis and Meadows didn't need a website. Because, and this is where it gets important, Linda is unlikely to serve to the doctrinal stance of the church. She's too busy. She's exhausted, remember? She doesn't need to know who the staff are and only really would want to know if there's programs for her kids, which she can find in the About section or the news feed on Facebook. This is radically different from Huron Forest Camp Cedar Ridge, who needs a highly interactive website which calls out programs, provides an opportunity to register and pay, and has links to social media engagement. So that was very different. Now, I'm curious, has anybody ever heard of Grumlaw? Anybody here heard of Grumlaw? It's a church in, okay, David has, I don't know, okay, some of you haven't, okay, maybe some, yes, no. Okay, Grumlaw is a church in near Flint. I think it's in Grand Blanc, actually, just south of Flint. Grumlaw needs a website. And the reason I bring this up is because they are real close geographically to Davis and Meadows. Grumlaw draws a younger, less churched, more educated group. These people might be interested in knowing what to expect before they go. In fact, look at this. They have a menu item called First Time. You can click on that and find out what to expect the first time you come. Here's a video you can watch to find out what this is all about, what to expect. Here, you want to get to know us, you can fill this out or not. You can join our mailing list or not, or you can contact us or not. You know, I mean, there's no pressure here, right? But I can if I want to. This means that now potential Grumlaw visitors will probably look for podcasts they can listen to. In fact, look at this. If I go to messages, I can see the pastor. That's what he looks like. This is apparently what where he preaches from. It looks like they have a little screen there. And hey, I can look at this particular piece of he did what? Message apparently, and apparently there's a series there. Here's more teaching series I can look at. And if I look at this, I can listen, which is cool because you know what? Maybe I'm on my phone and I'm walking or working out. Because remember, I'm a younger, more educated, less churched crowd. And if I clicked on the series, I can see the whole series that's what's going on here. So I might do this before I even visit the church if I am one of Grumlaw's personas. I might watch a short YouTube video. They might look for Google reviews of this church. They might go on Google and look for reviews to see if it's legit. So this means the membership all need to be engaging in the digital space. And you know what, they will, because these people know what's at stake if they attend Grumlaw. Now, after you've found your primary audience and made strategic decisions on identifying your goals and obstacles, decide where you will engage in your digital spaces with intention. And that's where this comes in. I've called it social posts because you really should engage in social, but maybe you've got a website that you want to maintain, like Grumlaw does. Maybe this can be important for you. I didn't put it on here in the original diagram or the original document because I don't know that it's important for every ministry, but it is important for some. And it's a part of managing your digital space, like Grumlaw, if that's the kind of church you've got. So now, if you're going to be intentional, you need to be well branded. And we saw Davis and Meadows has a brand, Galilean Missionary Church has a brand. Branding represents your personality, your brand personality. And brand personality is an actual identity defined as a set of emotional associative characteristics connected to an organization or name. Marketing words, marketing words, marketing words. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of marketing words for branding. But what I can tell you is when an organization is not intentional about their brand, they may end up with a mashup of personalities based on the whims of those people who are creating graphics, posters, sending emails or letters. And this becomes confusing for people who are looking for your church on Google, who won't be able to find, oh, that's Scrum Law, oh, that's Scrum Law, oh, that's Scrum Law, or that's Galilean, and that's Galilean. Oh, this is a different Galilean, they have a different brand, right? So what I would like you to do right now is to write down 5 to 7 words that describe your church. Single words, just 5 to 7 words. Go ahead and take, I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. I'm going to set a timer. So 5 to 7 words, honest, that describe your church. Ten seconds left. Okay. Oop. That won't turn off. There we go. So that was roughly a minute. So I would like to hear from each person your set of words, and then we're going to talk about how to get this done for you. So on my screen, Shirley is first. So Shirley, why don't you tell us the 5 to 7 words? Oh, you're muted. Okay, Shirley, we're ready for you.
I'm still working on it. I got warm, friendly, I don't even, family oriented, I put.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's fantastic. Okay, let's continue on. Leonard, go ahead. What do you got? Oh, you muted and then unmuted. You're still muted.
I'll unmute him.
Okay.
Go, Leonard.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Caring, reaching, eventful, and that's all I could come up with.
That's good. That's fine. You don't.
I'm hoping David and Megan can come up with that.
Well, you know what? This is supposed to be a group activity. You're starting it out. So go ahead, Denise. What about you?
I have loving, friendly, seeking, giving, and worshipful.
Awesome. Great list. David.
Well, I lead an association, so it's a little different. So I have supporting, assisting, networking, resourcing, and cooperating.
Awesome. It's beautiful. Brother Ray. What do you have?
I have still, like I said, still working on my list. I have loving, caring, discipleship. I really want to say studying, but I was trying to find a better word for that. But they like to learn, learning, fellowship, friendly, and giving.
That's beautiful. What a beautiful list. Okay, that's awesome. That is awesome. Brother Carlos. Oh, Brother Carlos, are you there?
He's there, but I can't unmute him for some reason.
Okay, we'll get back to you, Brother Carlos. Teresa.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
I'm here.
Do you have a list for us to share with us?
Yeah. Young, progressive, joyful, visionary, and seniors.
Very good. Wow, that's an interesting list. Okay, that's good. That's a great list. Okay, Teresa.
Yes, I have Bible teaching. I couldn't think one word for that, but we're a Bible teaching church, kind, evangelistic, giving, encouraging, praying.
Fantastic. Boy, these are great, great descriptive words. Okay, Rodolfo.
We've used for many years Christ-centered Bible-based ministry.
Oh, okay. So you've already got words. Okay. So that's good. That's good. That's very nice. Okay, Rochelle.
Loving, thoughtful, encouraging, trusting.
Ooh, trusting. I love that. That's beautiful. Okay. Patsy, what do you have? Oh, Patsy, are you with us? She might not be with us. We'll move on to Robert. What do you have, Brother Robert?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, we're attempting to rebrand the ministry. The ministry, as I shared with you earlier, is a mature ministry, but they were on the verge of actually shutting down when I became the pastor. Mm-hmm. And so because of the era that they came up out of, they're trying to get unstuck. We're trying to move into the 21st century. Normally churches are 20 years behind. We probably was 50 years behind. So I really don't have any positive adjectives at this time. So we're trying to change.
Look, that would be the generation of my parents. I would say they're probably the greatest generation? Are these greatest generation and boomer folks?
That's correct.
Okay, then I would say they bear character qualities of loyal, responsible, hardworking. You know, I mean, just look for the positives in the character qualities of those folks. Clearly, they have heart of compassion if they want to change. You know, maybe they're flexible. So you can look for the positives that have actually led them to call you and the desire to change. Those would be good character qualities to pull out for a brand that they can embrace and wrap their hearts around and say, yes, that's who we are. That's who we want to be. And that is, but it's not just aspirational. Like you couldn't say to Brother Carlos's church that he says they're progressive, because if your church isn't progressive, then that wouldn't be true. You don't want your brand to lie. Your brand has to be true. So if your folks are loyal, hardworking, and generous, maybe they're generous. Like maybe you don't have any problem. Davis and Meadows folks, there were very few folks in that church. There were mostly seniors, but yeah, they were very generous. Their offerings were unbelievable. We're like, this few people, they give that much? When we got to that church, we were shocked, but generosity was in their heart. So maybe your church is like that. Maybe they're generous in other ways with their time, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway, it's a thought.
Wonderful. Thank you for the help.
Sure. Gloria, any thoughts there from you? Any words?
Yes, I want to join with Rochelle and Teresa. I want to add to it, we're eventful, we're friendly. I want to add we're faithful as well as prayerful.
Prayerful, that's beautiful. What a beautiful, wow, how awesome. Awesome church. Okay, Patsy, are you with us?
No, we've lost about 4 or 5 people since 11. So.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Well, 2 hours is a long time. So branding, I just want to show you guys, if you guys are struggling with branding, now we're going to ramp up and go a little faster because we have 8 minutes. I just want to show you some ideas. And some of these links I will send to you. Well, I'll send you all of them. So the first is Fiverr. If you don't know what to do about branding, if you're like, yeah, I don't even know how to start. Davis and Meadows had the advantage of having someone in the congregation who did branding. Here in Forest Camp Cedar Ridge was already branded. Go to Fiverr. Fiverr's really cool. This is not a Christian organization. They're not connected to the Baptist State Convention of Michigan. The people you meet are probably all reprobate. Okay, all right, just gonna lay it out there, but they know what they're doing. So if I go to church brand and I search for church brand, this is services. And so I can go through here, and no, I don't want to join Fiverr. I just want to scroll. So I'm doing church brand. Okay, so here we go. Here's someone who, this is some of their example of their work, and they say, I will design, and they don't speak English real well, by the way. I will design elegant church brand logo business event in 12 hours, starting at $15. And they've got a 5-star review. 4 people left a 5-star review. Now that could be faked up, but you know what? That's kind of cool. Let's see if there's another one that's interesting. This is really interesting. I will customize your church brand or business logo starting at $5. And this is examples of their work. It's kind of nice, isn't it? So you can go to Fiverr and you can look through for a bunch of different, like you can do church brand, you can just do church. Probably get a lot more options here. Oh yeah, look at all this. So here's someone who does this kind of branding work. Minimalist church logo. This guy apparently does videos. This is real beautiful. Minimalist church logo in 12 hours. That's nice. So so go to Fiverr, check it out. And these are independent graphic designers who do this work around the world. And who knows, maybe you'll lead someone to the Lord. Just be careful. I mean, it's not a Christian business. So I'm just laying that out there too. It's not something that's saying that's the Baptist State Convention of Michigan says, oh yes, use Fiverr. It's just Diane Bowen saying these guys know what they're doing and they're cheap. It's a way to get what you need. Rather than having someone in your congregation say, oh, I do branding, I'll do a brand, who really doesn't know anything about branding. So that's pretty important. The second is Google training. If you go to grow.google/events, there's a bunch of stuff. If you want to learn digital stuff, several of you said, hey, I need to get on the digital train because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, there's a lot of us out there. Google has these great free training events. You just need to put your stuff out there. Here, let's see what's in Defiance, Ohio. Here you go. There's something in Finley and something in Lima. I don't know how you say that. So, so you can see manage your business remotely in times of uncertainty, increase your productivity with Google's digital skills, prepare for the holidays. That's kind of cool. Let's out by Denise. I know she's in Bay City area. So Bay City, Michigan, which is beautiful, by the way, if you've never been there. Look, there's something in Millington. And Mount Pleasant. So, there's places you can go and you can just type this in and learn what, they're all going to be different and they're all going to be free. And some of them are remotely and some of them aren't. So I encourage you to check that out. These are 2 great articles I encourage you to read. 5 reasons why your church must prioritize social media and 15 reasons your church should focus on social media ministry. The reason I like these is because after you've determined who you're reaching and why, then read these. Don't read these first. Figure out who your audience is first. Like I understood and we understood it was Linda. And they're like, well, what does Linda need? And then we read these articles. We're like, oh, that's what she needs. And we don't need a website to do that. Awesome. I'm going to send you a link to this church. This is Kingsgate Church. It's in the UK. They do a really good job explaining using messaging to reinforce why they exist. Our vision is to see lives transformed by the power of God's love. As we hear people's stories, we're amazed by what God is doing. These 3 stories, now I didn't read Linda's story. It's kind of funny I didn't read Linda's story or watch Linda's story, but I watched Tom's story and I read Fion's story. And I will tell you, both of them reinforce this vision to see lives transformed by the power of God's love and to be amazed at what God is doing. I encourage you to watch at least these 2 folks' videos to see how the message reinforces the strategy. The strategy is to see lives transformed. And this is their plan. This is how they've done it. And you can hear it in the lives of these 2 people, this short video. There's also tools out there that can help you create videos. Like, okay, these are, really nicely professionally done videos, but you can do that too. And there are tools out there to help you. Adobe Spark, and I'm going to send you a link to adobespark.com. It's free, totally free. And you can put together a video like this. I'm going to play it for you. This is 1.5 minutes long. That's why I'm going to play it for you. I have enough time to watch it. After I tell you about it, one more link I've got here for you. This is just photos, free little video snippets from Pexels and text. This is basically, if you can build a PowerPoint, you can build this video. Seriously. So, and then I'm going to send you a link for this particular TED Talk. Simon Sinek wrote the book Start With Why. This was his TED Talk that initiated the book. One of the most popular TED Talks of all time. He's not a Christian. Again, this guy's not a Christian, but he knows what he's talking about. 49 million views of this particular TED Talk. I encourage you to watch it. It's only 18 minutes long, well worth 18 minutes of your life to get you started on being able to fill out this section of this diagram. You'll be able to understand why and really think through, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? What do we want to accomplish? Why? And then figure out how. So for Leonard, his why might be something about reaching preschoolers because this reason, and this is how we're going to do it. So, okay, I'm going to play this 1.5 minute video. Okay, there's a reason why I shared that with you. This was as easy as a PowerPoint to put together. But the purpose of this video was for an UX awards that we just took an hour out of our work day. And I can't tell you the impact it had on every single person who was in that video was in that award ceremony. And they're like, we are so amazing. We're so amazing. You know, they felt like super people because of this little PowerPoint, easy to put together video. And it was just images, guys. It was just pictures and free videos from Pexels, free, totally royalty free. The music was free. It's all put together by Adobe Spark. I didn't do any of that. I just put the slides together, bam, done. That was it. So, so I encourage you to use some of these resources. It does involve you clicking around and experimenting. It does. And it starts with you inventorying the places where you are and managing those places right now. Secondly, figuring out who your audience is. Who are you reaching? Who is it? And writing that down and documenting it so everybody knows who it is. And then targeting your messaging with where you need to be and what you need to be saying. And then doing cool stuff like this. The cool stuff like this comes after. So I know we're 2 minutes over. Does anybody have any questions? Is there anything else I can answer for you before we depart?
I want to say, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I want to say that I was also showed that video clip there because that's the same thing my son can do an iMovie. He showed me on that tablet. And I just realized, like you said, it's easy. You know, I think it's just so hard to hire a professional. He's using the tablet, the iMovie, bring those photos in, put the music with it, and bam, it's done. And it looks so professional. And it was just fabulous. I just did one for our wedding anniversary, 24 years yesterday. It was just awesome, you know, the music and pictures. So we plan on doing that for Mother's Day coming up, the same thing. And it's amazing how just that video there is just, it's so easy, but yet so powerful. And I want to use one on our website too, like an introduction to Galilee. Like people click on a video and say, hey, some things about Galilee, bam, 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 with the music going, just so they can see. And how if you online looking for a church and you click on that on Galilee's website, and you click on that, or our Facebook page and click on that, you're like, wow, these people are awesome. You know, so that's what we're trying to do.
Awesome. Yes, exactly. I would recommend keeping them short. Whatever it is, keep it short.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, that's so exciting.
Teresa had a question in the chat.
Oh.
She's asking, when you have a senior church, senior adults, that's not familiar or does not see the need for digital media, do you have something that helps to prepare them? How can you help them see that need?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly where Davison Meadows was. Squarely where Davison Meadows was. So I conducted the digital inventory, found all these places, and presented them to them on a Wednesday night business meeting. I'm like, hey, you guys, look at all the places we are online. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're all on these places. Like, we don't have a website. No, we don't. But these are all the places where Davison Meadows is online. Here's an image, here's an image, here's an image, here's an image. So I'm going to go and start managing these and like adding information. But see, Rick and I were temporary there because Rick, it was the transitional pastor. But someone else is going to have to take over when we leave to make sure that, you know, these places are blah, blah, blah. And so there was a person who's like, well, I have a Facebook account. It's like the only person who did Facebook at the church. I'm like, okay, that's good. Let's work together. And I think it ended up being the finance team took it over because they understood Excel. So yeah, good question, Teresa. Show them where they already are. They are already online. I promise you, your church has places online that are not being managed. And when your people realize that their reputation is at stake, if they don't go to those places and make sure that they're managing them and they own them, then this becomes a reputation problem. It's not any longer a digital media problem. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Good question.
Before we're done here, Diane, unless there's other questions from other people, I know some people tuned into this thinking they would get some tools to help them with online streaming and different things. I did put a link to the Baptist State Convention's tools in the chat, and then I'm dropping one in there from Zoom. They already have some built-in online teaching, but did you have anything you wanted to mention on that?
Sure. Facebook Live's pretty easy if you know someone who has a Facebook account. Zoom is free for 40-minute meetings. And I'll tell you what, I know this sounds funny, but when Zoom first came out, when we started, Covenant I started using Zoom in like 2015, I think it was. We didn't pay for it. We just did the free version, and we'd have 40-minute meetings, and our meeting would end, and then we'd start another meeting and invite everybody. I mean, it was silly, right? Because we were a business, we should have paid for it, but we didn't know if it would be good. I understand Google Hangouts has like almost unlimited people, or like you could at least at one point you could have up to 10. I think you can have more now. So yeah, check out those tools that are going to be best for you. What somebody else uses doesn't mean it's going to be best for what you use. Use what will help your people. And if you just got senior folks, it might just be a conference call, like a phone call, if that's what they can do. And then maybe if you're getting young people together, maybe it's a I don't know, FaceTime or Google Hangouts at some other time that isn't church time.
Yeah.
Skype. Good. Yep, Skype. There you go. Skype's awesome. You can use Skype. Absolutely. Good questions.
Anybody else? Any other questions? And And Diane, I think I got everybody's email, and I will try to get those in a way that you can get them out to people, or you can send what you want to me and I can send it to them, however you want to do that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, David. Yeah, I haven't kept up with the chat. So if you chatted me, I was focused on presenting to you. I wasn't focused on chatting to you. So
And I am recording this, so you can go back and take a look, and we'll try to send you the link to this once we get it put together.
great, great. Any other questions? Seriously, I'm happy to answer any of the questions you might have.
I wanted to say thank you for taking the time to do this. Very helpful.
Sure. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Diane. And be sure and say hi to Rick for me.
I will do that, Carlos. I will. I told him that you were in the meeting and he was so very excited. So that's great.
Yeah.
Diane, it was a little different from what I expected, but it was still great information. I particularly like the demographics because I often wondered how we could do that in our community that we serve. I don't think we have good information because the housing is very transit now. So when we go out and evangelize, family may be there in 6 months, they may not. So I think that's a good tool to start, or knowing where to go. That's going to help with our Christian Women Job Corps for the WMU. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Hey, so I worked with Odell to create the Christian Women's Job Corps website.
Yes. Oh, amen. She's excited. Yes, we are.
Fun.
Well, Ms. Diane, this is Robert. Thank you for your time. Very informative. And thank you for giving me some inroads and insight to how to encourage and engage my seasoned saints.
Oh, you're so welcome. And if you guys have questions later on, like let's say, I don't know, tomorrow at 5 p.m., you're like, oh, I should have asked her that thing. I'll type my email here again, just so everybody has it. It's at the very top of the thread, but email me. And you can also Facebook message me. I'm also on Facebook Messenger if you prefer to do that. So, and I will, I'll get back with you and help you if I can. If there's any way I can help. But the most important piece is start with your digital inventory, and that will take time. It just takes time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Diane.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye.